The journey of the first season begins with a heart-stopping scene. We're introduced to our hero Shun, who's ensnared with a rapidly flooding gas cylinder. He's trapped within the eerie confines of a colossal spaceship, a vessel that was destined for a fresh, undiscovered planet known as Theia. In the nick of time, just as his lungs started to plead for air, Shun is released from his watery prison. He soon joins a group of passengers aboard the immense spacecraft, fittingly named the Origin. As the reality of their dire situation sets in, the passengers realize that they must work together if they wish to endure their sudden, unexpected isolation within the vast cosmos. A shared decision is reached. They would send a trio of their number to explore the upper echelons of the spacecraft, using the ladder as their only means of vertical transport. Back on the main deck, tensions begin to bubble among those left behind, fueled by the overwhelming uncertainty and anxiety that the alien situation invokes. Amidst the turmoil, a passenger named Bomb stumbles upon what appears to be an emergency alarm button. Ignoring the protest of the divided group, curiosity gets the better of him and he impulsively pushes the button. This abrupt action leads to the vanishing of the ladder that the exploratory trio had been ascending, but in its place, an elevator shaft is revealed. Shun and Lana, two of the chosen explorers, manage to reach the top in the nick of time, but tragically, their fellow companion wasn't as fortunate. Unable to reach the safety of the newly revealed elevator in time, he meets a fatal end, adding another layer of sadness to their already dire situation. As the narrative unfolds, the film provides viewers with a glimpse of Shun's past life. This gives context to his current circumstances, and it takes us away to the city of Tokyo, where Shun's brother, Takashi, a respected deputy in the police force, earnestly persuades him to sign up for a bold initiative known as the Theia Project. Takashi paints an exciting picture of a chance for Shun to cast off the chains of his criminal past as a member of the notorious Yakuza, the Japanese mafia. A promise of a prosperous new existence awaits him on Theia, a planet located a daunting 5 light years away from Earth. His troubled history and all the haunting memories that blind him to it would be wiped clean, offering him a blank canvas on which he could paint a fresh start on a new world. But Shun, however, remains steadfast in his condition, and he will only embark on this adventure if Takashi, his brother, goes with him. But in an unfortunate turn of events later in the narrative, Takashi falls victim to the Yakuza's brutal retaliation for Shun's betrayal, leaving a deep-seated impact on Shun's psyche. Returning to the present reality aboard the series, all the remaining passengers have managed to ascend to the ship's upper levels, and they join Shun and Lana, and their collective search for answers and survival continues unabated. Their exploration leads them to intercept a distress radio signal from a crew member of Siren. His voice trembles as he sends out a plea for help from Cell 50, situated in the ship's lower levels. A rescue party consisting of Shun, Lana, Abigail, and Henry volunteered to venture into the unknown to retrieve the stranded crew member. Meanwhile, the remaining passengers, including Lee, stay behind, tasked with figuring out possible escape plans from the spaceship. Through the computer intelligence accessed by Lee, a shocking revelation unfolds. They discover that the rest of the passengers and crew members had evacuated the spaceship an hour before their unexpected awakening. This realization casts an even bigger shadow on their uncertain survival. 4 of our protagonists stumble upon a distressing scene. A Frenchwoman, identified as a crew member of Siren, is found lying on her own blood with a gun ominously placed beside her. Detecting the faint pulse of life within her, Henry and Abigail opt to stay with her, providing what comfort and aid they can. Meanwhile, Shun and Lana, guided by an unsettling cry for help, dare to venture into the sealed room within the ship. Within this chamber, they discover evidence of a catastrophic event. The spaceship had been struck by an asteroid from outer space. Adding to the horror, the room is filled with grotesque, distorted corpses. Among the deceased, they find Max Taylor, another Siren crew member, who clings to life despite a severe gunshot wound. Ray, the first woman they found, warns them of Max's dangerous nature, even in his wounded state. But Max reciprocates the accusations, casting doubt on Ray's trustworthiness. Unsure of whom to believe, Shun and Lana make the difficult decision to lock up Max until they can determine their next course of action. Back on the upper levels of the ship, the narrative shifts to Logan, one of the remaining passengers. Overwhelmed by despair after their realization that they were left behind and cut off from any hope of reaching Theia, he wanders off alone. 2 female passengers attempt to trail after him, but he inexplicably disappears from their sight after a few minutes. In the the scene after, Logan is seen experiencing an epileptic seizure. Fortunately, he's found by Katie, who rescues him in his time of need, and in the aftermath of this ordeal, Logan implores Katie to keep his condition a secret, sparking the beginning of a deeper bond between the two survivors amidst the chaos enveloping their spaceship. The series peeled back the layers of its characters' histories, unveiling another flashback, and this time spotlighting Lana's life prior to her recruitment for the Thea project. We learn that she was employed as a personal security guard, entrusted with the task of shielding a senator's daughter, Ruby, from harm. Over time, Lana grew close to the senator's family, ultimately leading to a shared kiss with Omar, who happens to be the senator and Ruby's father. But their quiet evening is abruptly shattered when their home comes under attack. Omar falls victim to a gunshot, while Lana, in the chaotic scramble to fend off the intruder, tragically fires a lethal shot at Ruby, who was hiding in her closet. This traumatic incident leaves a lasting impression on Lana, instilling in her the deep fear of using firearms and triggering panic attacks. The narrative then fast forwards to the present on the spaceship, where Shun and Lana discover that Ray's warning about Max Taylor was accurate and he was indeed a dangerous entity contaminated by unknown forces. And left with no other options, they get forced to kill him. However, they are soon met with the unsettling revelation that another infected individual managed to escape from Cell 50 and is potentially on the loose. This knowledge sows seeds of doubt and suspicion among the already strained group of survivors, further emphasizing the reality that they're all strangers in an alien environment. The narrative of Origin continues, immersing us in the hallucinations of Ray, influenced by the sedatives administered to her as she receives medical care from Henry and Abigail. We're provided a window into her past, illustrating her life with her father and her sister in France. The flashback then transports us back to the spaceship, where Ray suffers a severe eye injury due to exposure to an intense beam of light as the ship travels at light speed. Unlike her fellow passengers, she experiences a series of fragmented memory flashes from both her past and future. The disjointed scene failed to coalesce into the coherent narrative, leaving Ray overwhelmed and confused. A deep bond forms between Ray and Max Taylor during her recovery period, their feeling for one another blossoming amid the trauma and chaos. Their fragile peace is shattered when the ship comes under attack from an external force, causing pandemonium in Cell 50, an area under Taylor's charge. Driven by a sense of responsibility for the people under his care, Taylor defies the captain's orders and ventures out to check on them. Unable to leave him to face the danger alone, Ray follows suit, leaving the inhabitants of her designated Cell 19 amidst an ongoing evacuation procedure. However, when she finally reaches Taylor, she's met with a violent attack and Taylor has been possessed by an unknown entity. Ray musters the strength to fend him off, escaping the encounter with her life but suffering a severe wound in the process. The aftermath of this harrowing incident leaves a lasting impact on her and further deepens the complexity of their dire situation. Back in the present timeline aboard the spaceship, the tension escalates as a fire alarm suddenly blares, causing a diversion. Amid the commotion, the group's primary objective remains keeping Ray safe, as she holds the key to identifying the infected individuals among them. The imposter reveals himself to be Eric, one of the passengers who'd been with them since the beginning. However, Lee uncovers his true identity, which happens to be Vincent Johnson. In a desperate act, Vincent attempts to throttle Ray and infect Logan, and luckily, the quick actions of the remaining survivors save both Ray and Logan, causing Vincent to flee the scene. And this incident further reinforces their unity in the face of the mounting danger around them. The narrative then transitions to a chilling scene where Henry, armed with an amputation laser, performs a crude autopsy on Taylor's body, prying open his skull to investigate his brain. This drastic measure is taken after Logan reports witnessing a black entity emerging from Vincent's eye, and they observe a similar phenomena in Taylor's remains. The sight that meets them is macabre, a black insect-like creature nestled within Taylor's brain tissue. Drawing on his observations, Henry theorizes that these alien organisms might be infiltrating their hosts' bodies, altering their behavior, and impacting their higher mental faculties. The storyline of Origin then progresses at breakneck speed now, as Henry and Abigail busy themselves with the grim task of disposing of Taylor's infected corpse, and Sean and Lana embark on a perilous hunt for Eric. While they run away, Eric manages to get in touch with Venetia, persuading her to trust him. He claims to be in the dark about the strange events happening to him after he wakes up from his blackout, asserting that he's as terrified as they are. Venetia, swayed by his plea, decides to break away from the group and searches for Eric, leaving Ray, who is asleep, unattended. Eric, demonstrating a cunning and devious nature, lures Shun and Lana to the ship's morgue, locking them inside with the chilling intention of freezing them to death. However, they manage to outwit their dire predicament and escape the icy death trap. When Venetia finds Eric, he attempts to infect her, and Henry, arriving arrives just in time and tries to fend Eric off. In the ensuing struggle, however, he accidentally jettisons Venetia, who was held captive by Eric, into the cold expanse of space. The guilt of his actions weighs heavily on Henry as he grapples with the fact that he accidentally caused the death of an innocent person. When he returns to the room where he fought Eric, Henry discovers that Eric had made a daring escape through the roof exit, leaving no trace behind. Time ticks away in the tense atmosphere on board the spaceship, and after several hours, Lee and Henry stumble upon Eric's lifeless body dumped inside the pool. However, their investigation reveals the absence of the black parasitic organism within his brain, leading them to the unsettling conclusion that it must have been transferred to another host. And this revelation triggers a fresh wave of mistrust among the surviving passengers. The passengers' suspicion converge on Lee, who discovered Eric's body and had been conspicuously absent from the group. Logan and Baum decide to confront her, resorting to force to elicit answers. They damage her AI box in the process, a device that holds access to the personal information of all the passengers on board. The other passengers intervene just in time to prevent further harm to Lee and banish Logan and Baum from the upper sections of the ship. Undeterred, Baum discovers a part of the spacecraft that can function as a separate craft capable of venturing into space. Recognizing that Logan has a knack for mechanical craft, Baum solicits his help. The two men form an unlikely alliance, agreeing to work together on repairing the craft, and all the while keeping their discovery a secret from the rest of the group. The series begins to peel back the layers of Baum's past, painting a vivid picture of his life through a series of flashbacks. One such memory takes us to a lavish charity bidding event where the last Damask rosebush on Earth is up for auction, which was an event orchestrated by the enigmatic Mr. Walt Weber, a false identity cleverly crafted by Baum. In this high-stakes setting, Baum is seen engaging in a flirtatious game with a sophisticated German widow named Margot who sits beside him. Their seemingly innocent interaction is part of Baum's elaborate scheme to steal Margot's necklace, a dazzling piece of jewelry valued at a staggering 50 million euros. Seizing the opportunity, Margot invites Baum to her opulent residence. As he tries to cleverly record the passcode Margot uses to unlock her precious necklace, he is caught red-handed by her son Casper. As Baum flees from the house, Casper gives chase and reveals a surprising twist. He is not Margot's biological son, but rather her stepson. The coveted necklace was supposed to be his inheritance, a fact that leads him to propose a daring collaboration with Baum. As the saga of Baum's past continues to unfold, a fascinating twist reveals a deeper layer of his character. Despite his initial intentions, Baum finds himself intertwined in a romantic affair with Casper. Unlike his manipulative relationship with Margot, Baum's feelings toward Casper appear to be genuine, so much so that he discloses his real identity to him, sharing that his true name is actually Baum. United by their secret alliance, Baum and Casper successfully managed to record Margot's voice passcode, a crucial step in their plan to steal the precious necklace. However, their triumph is short-lived when Baum attempts to sell the stolen necklace, only to discover that it's nothing more than a cheap glass imitation. It's a very cruel twist of fate. Baum falls victim to a masterfully crafted ruse, and he's arrested by the police for theft. It's here he experiences the sting of betrayal. Casper, the man with whom he'd shared intimate moments with and trusted, was part of the plot all along. Casper explains that his stepmom Margot had discovered their secret relationship and used it to her advantage, coercing him into her scheme. Her plan was to trick Baum into stealing the worthless necklace in order to claim the hefty insurance payout for the supposedly lost piece. Baum, caught off guard and outmaneuvered, finds himself trapped in a precarious situation, a pawn in a game of deceit and betrayal. In the intricate tapestry of relationships aboard the spacecraft, an unexpected romance continues to bloom between Logan and Katie. As their bond deepens, Logan can't resist the temptation to share the secret that he'd been harboring, his and Baum's clandestine plan to repair a part of the spacecraft and escape into the unknown without informing the rest of the passengers. This shocking revelation triggers a disagreement between Logan and Baum, a storm that they may manage to weather, albeit grudgingly for the time being. But the waters remain choppy, as Baum later overhears an unsettling conversation between Logan and Katie expresses her unease about Baum and admits her lack of trust in him. Logan then, in a surprising turn, acquiesces to her feelings and agrees to leave without Baum. In a moment of cold revenge, Baum sets the escaped raft free, deliberately doing so with no one on board. The desolate expanse of the spaceship is contrasted with the infectious laughter and lighthearted albeit drunken banter echoing from one section of the ship. Sean, Lana, Abigail, Henry, and Ray Huddled together, their merry chatter a desperate attempt to drown the sorrows looming over them. Each shot of alcohol is a temporary escape from the harsh reality of their plight. We see Ray finally opening up, her heartfelt apology piercing the air. She confesses, her voice trembling with regret, that she was the one responsible for their current predicament. It was she who accidentally opened the roof exit, providing Eric with an escape route, and the weight of this confession hangs heavily in the air as they all grapple with the ramifications of her actions. Elsewhere in the spaceship, Lee and Logan are seen collaborating, their mutual goal of identifying the infected individual strengthening their bond. Despite earlier friction, Logan seems to remember information about Lee, evidence that his memory remains intact. This realization brings relief to Lee, who had feared that he'd lost all his memories when her AI box was damaged. Logan's apology for his earlier harsh treatment of her is accepted, marking a turning point in their relationship. As they work together, they start to understand each other better, forming an unlikely alliance in their shared quest. In another part of the spaceship, the remaining passengers and Ray scramble into action, attempting to repair a damaged ring on the spaceship. The entire ship has been rocked by tremors, a harsh reminder of the precariousness of their situation. Dividing their tasks, they split into two groups, each determined to play their part in keeping the ship and each other alive. Lee, Abigail, and Katie stationed themselves in the upper part of the ship. Simultaneously, Shun, Lana, Henry, and Logan bravely venture into the ship's damaged ring. Their mission is fraught with danger, as they need to halt the breach that threatens the integrity of the ship. Suddenly, chaos ensues as Logan is struck by a large box, propelled by the air rushing into space. Despite his severe injuries and substantial blood loss, Logan manages to escape from Ring 10 just in time. Logan is rushed to the medical center as his condition was critical. In an unexpected turn of goodwill, Bomb steps forward to donate blood for Logan, a gesture met with suspicion by Katie. She finds it hard to trust Bomb, suspecting that he might harbor ill intentions toward Logan due to their earlier fallout. But in the midst of their current crisis, even past grudges might be put aside for the sake of survival. Tragically, amid the frantic efforts to repair the spaceship, Lana finds herself trapped. She couldn't escape the ring in time, and the system plunges into lockdown. The ring she's stranded in is set to be ejected into the harsh expanse of space. It's a very scary predicament, one that promises an icy and lonely end. Refusing to let her meet such a fate, Shun steps up, his determination shining through the dire circumstances. And against all odds, he convinces her to leap into the void of space from the exit of Cell 50. Lana is understandably terrified by the prospect of jumping into the unending void of space. However, Shun's voice guides her through all of it, and his calming words provide the reassurance that she needs in the face of danger. She takes the leap, her fate hanging in the balance as she soars into the abyss. For Shun, saving Lana comes with a near-death experience, and it was a close call, but miraculously he survives, managing to pull Lana from the edge of certain death. And the ordeal that they face together serves to forge a strong bond between them. In a stunning revelation, Lee is exposed as the infected individual. A very shocking reveal unveils her lying lifeless on top of Logan, her last words chillingly echoing those of the previous host of the black parasite, "It's inside." As the words hang heavy in the air, the tension among the survivors spike. Yet, in a twist, Henry's autopsy of Lee's brain presents a new mystery. As he opens her skull to examine her brain, they expected to find the black parasite nested within her, but weirdly enough, they don't. And instead, they're confronted with the realization that Lee was not a host to the parasite. This shocking discovery raises the alarming prospect that someone else on board is still infected and is responsible for Lee's death. Suspicion turns ominously toward Logan. The circumstances are damning, and he was found in a pool of blood, Lee's lifeless body nearby. The accusations fly, but Logan manages to articulate a plausible defense. He explains that he and Lee had been working together, collaborating on a project to fix an AI box. This box, he explains, has the ability to access the personal data of everyone aboard the ship. The information this box holds could be the key to identifying the infected individual. Logan explains how the black parasite targets the hippocampus, the part of the brain associated with memory and episodic behavior. Therefore, by examining the personal data and observing anomalies in memory and behavior, they can potentially pinpoint who amongst them is infected. Logan's explanation is compelling, and in light of his confession, the survivors start to believe that he isn't the infected person. However, a new problem begins to arise. They must now locate the access point to the invaluable information, and as the tension rises, the survivors are left grappling with the reality that the parasite's host is still amongst them, and the key to uncovering their identity lies hidden somewhere on the spaceship. In the wake of this alarming discovery, the situation quickly escalates. Without warning, Bomb barricades the room, trapping everyone inside before making a hurried escape. This suspicious behavior fuels their rising fear, turning their accusatory glances in his direction. With the unsettling realization that Bomb may be the one infected, they hatch a plan to break free. And using their combined strength and quick thinking, they manage to break out of the confined space. With a newfound resolve, they spread out in pursuit of Bomb, searching the ship with a heightened sense of urgency. Their pursuit leads to a dramatic confrontation where Bomb is shot in the lower abdomen. Bomb manages to evade capture, locking himself inside another room, creating a tense standoff. Simultaneously, in another part of the spaceship, Logan unravels another piece of the mystery. He realizes the key to accessing the personal data is actually embedded beneath Lee's skin on her wrist. This revelation leads to a haunting new understanding to Lee's last words, and with Katie's help, Logan carefully extracts the chip from Lee's wrist. But his deteriorating physical condition hinders him from reaching the location of the AI box. In a moment of trust and desperation, Logan entrusts the precious chip to Katie, his now beloved companion. He discloses the location of the AI box, imploring her to continue the mission in his stead. With the weight of this responsibility, Katie embarks on this crucial task, aware that the survival of everyone on the ship may depend on her success. Between these tense and critical scenes on the spaceship, we're transported back in time through another illuminating flashback. This time, we delve into Logan's life prior to his involvement with the Thea Project, and we see him as a young man walking on the wrong side of the law, sentenced to community service for his misdeeds. His assignment? Caring for Mia, an elderly woman battling a degenerative disease. Their relationship begins tumultuously, filled with arguments and mutual insults. However, as time passes, an unexpected bond forms between the rebellious delinquent and the stubborn old woman. Over time, their bickering gives way to genuine companionship, and we witness a heartfelt scene where Logan fulfills Mia's long-held wish to celebrate her final birthday by the sea. As they stand by the ocean, laughter echoing in the wind, the pair find enjoyment and comfort in each other's company. Mia confides in Logan about her wish to control her destiny and to choose her end on her own terms. Logan, moved by her resolve, pleads with her to let nature take its course. He asks her to hold on, to let life decide its own end. His words seem to resonate with Mia, and she appears to agree. However, a heart-wrenching twist occurs the next day when Logan enters Mia's room to find it empty. He learns that Mia checked herself out of the healthcare facility, leaving him with nothing but an empty room and a pang of loss. But Mia leaves Logan a final gift, a sign-up to Siren, and in her memory, he's presented with an opportunity to embark on a new journey, a token of her belief in him and his potential to start a new life. During these tense and rapidly unfolding events aboard the spaceship, Henry, Shun, and Lana uncover a shocking revelation. All signs indicate that Katie, not Bomb, is the individual infected with the insidious parasite. This discovery comes about when they stumble upon the tool that she used to carry out Lee's murder, tucked away discreetly in her quarters. Their companion, their friend, is the enemy that they've been hunting for. This realization spurs them into immediate action, and they know that they must reach Katie before she can do any more harm and anybody else gets hurt. However, fate seems to conspire against them as they arrive just a moment too late. Their hearts plummet in sync with the crashing noise of the chip being smashed to pieces under Katie's force. But they refuse to be deterred and take quick decisions under duress, and they successfully manage to confine Katie in a secured room. The clock is ticking louder than ever, and they have barely a day left till they reach Thea, their destination. The urgency in their action is palpable as they are left wrestling with a vital question. How can they continue with their journey with a potentially dangerous parasite carried aboard? As the plot of this great series, Origin, unfolds further, we're taking on another journey back in time. This time, we delve into Katie's history, a tale that transports us to the quaint rural setting of Ireland. Here, Katie is not Katie, but a young woman named Rachel, living a distinctly different life. She shares her life with her brother Andrew, who's known more popularly as a devout preacher in their small community. One fateful day, Rachel decided to blend into the crowd of worshippers who'd gather to offer prayers and thanks to the Lord, guided by Andrew's passionate preaching. As she immersed herself in the spiritual ambiance, a strange drone mysteriously appeared, hovering over the scenic seashore. Upon realizing that the drone was seeking her specifically, she decided to scan the peculiar code imprinted on the back of her neck. As she did, the drone seemed satisfied and departed peacefully, its mission apparently accomplished. However, this incident didn't escape unnoticed. The simple folks of her brother's congregation were very quick to label her her as odd, viewing her with a mixture of suspicion and intrigue. The sole exception was Sean, a man who was perceived as unusual by the same community. Perhaps it was this shared sense of being outcasts that drew Rachel and Sean together. They are seen forming a close bond, sharing a joyous moment riding horses across the idyllic landscape. The happiness, however, is short-lived. Rachel, on her horse going at gallop, experiences a nasty fall. When she wakes from her unconscious state, she finds herself faced with a confrontation with Andrew. There's a dark cloud from their past that hangs over them, something that Rachel had been burdened with for quite some time now. She finally musters up the courage to ask him the question, which was if he could ever forgive her for her past mistakes. His response, a simple yet resounding no, shatters her peace of mind. This pivotal moment serves as a stepping stone for the events that would later shape the narrative of the season. In the dynamic climax of the season of Origin, our brand of unsettled explorers finally lay eyes on the long-anticipated destination, planet Thea. The sight of this celestial body, their prospective new home, gleaming through the spaceship's window, stirs up a potent cocktail of emotions. A sensation of immense joy floods over them, a momentary respite from the relentless turbulence that they've faced so far. However, their happiness is immediately eclipsed by a new looming threat. In the vast expanse of the cosmos, they notice another spacecraft closing in on the Origin. This foreign vessel bears an air of menace, its intentions unknown. It starts by scanning their ship utilizing Project 47, a very sophisticated detection system. This system is designed to identify non-native life forms, a coded reference for the deadly parasite that they've been grappling with so far. Having detected the parasite's presence on the ship, the foreign aircraft proceeds with a chillingly efficient eradication process. It releases a lethal gas, one that holds the power to wipe out any trace of the dreaded parasite. The gas is unleashed from Ring 9 and begins its destructive path, spreading throughout the spaceship. It relentlessly advances upward, encroaching on one ring after another, and it gets very close to the area where our protagonists sought refuge. This turn of events creates a suspenseful countdown, dramatically intensifying the stakes as the deadly gas steadily engulfs the spaceship, threatening to snuff out the lives of the survivors and their hopes for a new beginning on planet Thea. In this tension-filled scene, a crucial decision has to be made by the remaining passengers, a decision that can mean life or death. The group has identified Katie as the potential host for the lethal parasite based on the evidence that they've gathered. The consensus amongst them is to make the heartbreaking sacrifice of Katie in hopes of securing their survival. Logan, however, disagrees with this grim proposition. He harbors an unshakable conviction that Katie is not the one that's infected. In an act of desperate courage, he stages a daring escape mission aiming to free Katie from the room that she's been confined to. However, their audacious escape plan is foiled just as they were on the brink of achieving their goal. Shun and Bomb, vigilant and steadfast, catch them in the act, and with their lives hanging by a thread, Logan and Katie find themselves held at gunpoint, an intense standoff that sends shockwaves throughout the spaceship. Logan pleads with Shun and Bomb, begging them to spare Katie's life. In a riveting turn of events, Shun, swayed by the palpable desperation in Logan's plea, decides not to pull the trigger. This act of mercy triggers a domino effect, leading Bomb to relent. He lowers his weapon, allowing Katie to live for now. This pivotal decision alters the dynamics of the spacecraft, raising questions about trust, survival, and the true identity of the parasite's host. At the same time, in a bid to confirm whether or not Katie is indeed infected with the alien parasite, Henry comes up with a great, albeit risky, hypothesis. He proposes to create a pseudo-death state for Katie by reducing her body temperature for a span of 12 minutes. The idea is that if Katie is actually infected, the parasite, which cannot survive in a deceased host, would also perish along with her. This experiment comes with considerable risk, and the success rate is far from guaranteed. It's a precarious gamble, one that could potentially claim Katie's life. However, in a surprising twist, Katie herself insists on undergoing this experimental procedure. And so, Katie courageously steps into the experimental phase. This move stuns the rest of the passengers, filling the air with fear and anticipation. As she undergoes the procedure, they can only watch in fraught silence. There's a very tense moment when it seems that all hope might be lost, yet Katie pulls through, providing a sense of temporary relief with a new hope hope that they might just survive this ordeal. Having ascertained that Katie isn't the one who's been infected by the alien parasite, the focus now shifts to Ray and Abigail. They embark on a mission to search through the captain's quarters in search of anything that might shed more light on the enigmatic siren. They're in search of clues, a guide, anything that could help them navigate their way through the very perplexing situation that they found themselves in. Meanwhile, Henry, Shun, and Lana take on a different task. Their mission involves them making their way to Ring 4, the goal being to retrieve all the oxygen supplements that remain inside the ship. Because at this point in this very dire situation, oxygen is very necessary. Despite the perilous situation, the trio managed to pull off the mission, reaching Ring 4 just in time before the deadly nerve agent infiltrates the area. They accomplish the task, but it comes at a cost. Henry ends up inhaling a small amount of the toxic gas. It's a tense and high-stakes scenario where every decision could be the difference between life and death. In the confines of the captain's cabin, Ray and Abigail stumble upon a shocking revelation about Siren. The corporation, it seems, had been keeping a monumental secret, the existence of another planet known as Iris. Even more alarming, they discovered the people who were dispatched to this hidden planet actually never made it back. Further exploration of the hidden depths of Siren's secrets brings to light another shocking piece of information. Siren has knowingly put every one of them at risk despite being aware of the hostile parasites that thrives on the nearby planet Iris. But still, the corporation chose to send the crew into the danger zone. In the meantime, Katie embarks on a mission of her own. She ventures into the danger-filled Ring 1 on a daring quest to rescue the increasingly volatile bomb before the lethal gas engulfs the ring he's held up in. The mission is fraught with danger, but the thought of leaving Bomb to his fate is something that Katie cannot bear. Within the confines of Ring 1, they discover a piece of information that could alter their destiny. They find that access to the base of the ship has been guaranteed and a gateway that could lead them to their ultimate destination, Thea. But there's a catch. The access route can only support a maximum weight of 150 kilograms. This means that not everyone aboard the spacecraft can utilize their escape route, a grim realization that sinks their spirits. Faced with the cruel dilemma, Bomb puts forth a proposal. He suggests that they abandon the others and save themselves, arguing that their fellow passengers had shown no qualms of leaving them to die. But Katie was resolute in her conviction, and she categorically refuses to leave anyone behind, standing firm against Bomb's persuasive arguments. Believing in the goodness that she sees in Bomb, she convinces him to join her in her mission to save everybody that she can. She reaches out to a part of him that she believes still harbors compassion and humanity, urging him to stand by her side as they face the uncertain future together. Her conviction brings about a change in Bomb, who despite his earlier suggestion, decides to stand with Katie. Together, they commit themselves to the difficult task of ensuring everyone's survival. In the meantime, Shun and Lana embark on a critical mission of their own. Their friend Henry has inhaled the deadly toxin, and they make their way to the medical section in a desperate bid to find an antidote that can save his life. Upon reaching the medical bay, Shun makes a discovery that takes him by surprise. He stumbles upon a photograph of Max and his brother Sam left behind by Ray. The picture, positioned on the lifeless body of Ray's departed lover, is a reminder of the bond that they shared and the life that they lost. In this reflective moment, a realization dawns on Shun, and he recalls a conversation that he had with Lana when he was helping her jump into space, a conversation in which he had mentioned her brother's name. The name strikes him as familiar, and he's intrigued by the coincidence. In the heart of the crisis, Shun manages to retain his composure. As a wave of realization washes over him, he is careful not to let Lana on his discovery just yet. With a sense of urgency and a mind filled with questions, he instructs Lana to attend to Henry and to provide him with the much-needed antidote that they've acquired. Shun maintains his calm demeanor, keeping the revealing photograph out of Lana's sight as he stashes it away safely. Finally alone, Shun ventures into Max's cell, drawn by a need to unravel the mystery that has unexpectedly unveiled itself to him. He finds a series of personal recordings made by Max, and as he listens, he hears tales of a past life that Max shared with his brother at their lake house. Every word, every description echoes the story Lana had once narrated to him about her own life. The uncanny similarity was impossible to ignore, and it only serves to fuel Shun's growing suspicion. To further solidify his belief, he uncovers yet another recording, and this time of Lana herself. In this recording, Lana meticulously lists the names of the 8 other passengers aboard the spaceship. Her tone and the detailed information she possesses hints at a deeper understanding of the situation, and Shun is drawn in. Lana confesses to being the sole remaining infected individual on the spaceship. The implications of her confession weigh heavily on Shun, pushing him to a whirlpool of chaos and uncertainty. Lana, who's been thought of as an ally, is revealed as the true carrier of the infection and the puppeteer behind Lee's gruesome murder. Skilled in deceit, she'd managed to craftily shift the blame onto Katie by scattering damning evidence, the scalp and the bloodstains that was carefully placed within her room. Flashbacks emerge, painting a vivid picture of a struggle between Lana and Eric in the confines of the pool. The scene climaxes with Lana becoming the new host for the insidious parasite, and she's also the one responsible for sabotaging the medical AI system when Henry was on the brink of examining Eric's brain, specifically the hippocampus. Meanwhile, a palpable tension infuses the upper part of the Origin, and the remaining passengers are grappling with their own concerns. The conspicuous absence of Shun and Lana, and the impending danger of the poisonous gas, and the agonizing decision of who gets to escape via the probe at the base of the ship. Simultaneously, an intense confrontation ensues between Shun and Lana after he is discovered eavesdropping on her voice recordings. Even though Lana is controlled by the parasites, fragments of her past memories resurface. In a surprising turn of events, she hands over her weapon to Shun, presenting him with an opportunity to end her life right then and there. But he chooses to incapacitate her instead. Shortly after, a radio signal interrupts, with the rest of the passengers on the upper part of the ship relaying the news about the escape probe. Shun acts swiftly, carrying an unconscious Lana to the probe and securing her within, and subsequently launching it into outer space. In the aftermath of Lana's departure, an immediate cessation of the poisonous gas leak ensues and Project 47 is deactivated. The departure of the parasite host Lana signals the end of the immediate threats, and the Origin readies itself to make a landing on planet Thea. A wave of euphoria sweeps through the surviving passengers as they come to terms with their survival. They celebrate, exchange hugs, and congratulate one another on their shared victory. However, their moment of triumph is short-lived as Henry suddenly experiences a violent coughing fit, expelling blood onto Abigail's chest before collapsing onto the floor. As the season draws to a close, suspense and uncertainty hang heavy in the air. Lana, confined within the probe, receives a static-riddled radio signal from an audibly terrified woman. The very cryptic message she delivers casts a long shadow of dread, a stark warning to stay away from planet Thea, as it's far from being a safe haven. And this is how Season 1 of Origin wraps up.